coming in hot, Chinch. What's going on, brother?
There he is, cased in another hotel room or motel or a suite somewhere across America.
Up here, right out, we're getting ready to do some MLB Network this week, ready to go. What about you, Chinch? You got a little color, for the weekend. Were you sitting out by the pool all day?
You know, it's funny. My last name is Italian, but I do have some Irish in me a little bit. And the Irish side was like, "What were you doing out so long?" Like, I am beat this weekend. I got roasted. Dude, I shave my head now. I need to there's that much more sunscreen that goes into the equation for me. I got to cover my...
Dude, my dad would have the bald spot. He has the bald spot going forever. And, you're like, Dad, man, your bald spot looks like you smashed a couple of tomatoes on it. What are we doing?
I know. I'm hanging in there. Dude, it could be worse, man. I could be playing baseball for either New York Yankees or New York Mets right now. The sky has fallen in this town case. The sky has fallen.
I'm sure, dude. I'm sure they're going. I can't imagine what they're saying there in New York. I mean, I can't imagine it. It's been crazy. I saw a stat. I don't know if it's exactly right, but is it since June 1st or it was a date they had that the Yankees, the last 51 games are like the bottom of the barrel. Like they're like 20-31, one of the worst teams in baseball. I couldn't believe that stat.
They are 19-30. You are correct. That is worst among every American League Baseball team in that span. Who's their closer? Tell me who their closer should be, by the way, because that's a big conversation around town.
I mean, I think Bednar should be the closer right now. I mean, if I'm Booney, I'm looking at saying, Devin Williams. I know he's been great the last couple of years, but this is not his year. He's got to be out of the closer role. You know what I mean? At this point, it's got to be Bednar's your closer. Weaver's your setup guy. Williams is a guy. I'm finding matchups for him in the 6th and the 7th. That's what I would do. But obviously, I'm not the manager of the Yankees. But I just think that's been a scuffle. And you know what? I think one of the things too, Chinch, it just shows you with starting pitching. Max Fried is finally. He was so good the first half. He's struggled his last 7 starts, I believe. Rodon's been pretty good, but not an ace. Heel's back, but he's just coming back. And you're relying on Warren too. And it's just that's not a rotation that's built to win the AL East. I just really believe that. And with the bullpen scuffling the way they've been scuffling, the combo is just not the right combo right when you need it, man. At the end of the day, I mean, they have just really struggled in all facets of the game.
Yeah, so statistically, or let's go standings-wise, the Yankees are now 6.5 games out in the American League East, and that's not even the most shocking thing. In the wild card, the Yankees only have a half-game lead over your Cleveland Guardians. Props to the Guardians, by the way.
The Guardians, wow. Well, you know what? It was funny when we were talking about the Guardians a few weeks ago at the deadline. We were saying, are they going to be buyers or sellers? Turns out they weren't really sellers, although they did get rid of Bieber.
Right.
Which is the big one, but obviously he's going to be a free agent.
They kept a lot of their bats, though.
They kept, they talked about Quan being traded. He stayed. They talked about a couple other guys getting traded. They all stayed. So, I know Chris Antonetti and those guys, obviously felt like, Stephen Vogt, great manager. We haven't made the run all year. We're going to make a run at some point. They're playing some good baseball, man. They really are. Because it wasn't that long ago. They were 8 games under 500.
Right. Okay, so back to the Mets. The Mets have lost 11 of 12, okay? In the NL wild card, let's see here. NL wild card, they are just a game and a half above the Reds, who, by the way, the Reds could be making a little bit better of a push right now, but we'll get to them in a second. And in the National League East, sorry, I lost my place here. National League East, they're 5.5 games back of Philadelphia, who's won 7 of 10.
Yeah, the Mets are struggling. I almost feel like they're kind of falling apart. But they ran into the Brewers, ran into the Brew Crews, playing some great baseball. What have they won, Chinch? Like 7 in a row, 9 in a row, I think. 9 in a row.
Yep.
And 9 in a row. The other day they won 11 in a row.
Yes. They are the best team in baseball. You can't. I'm not gonna. Don't argue with me if you're out in LA. The Brewers are the best team in baseball right now. I say.
Best team, dude. Best team. Best rotation. I feel like. And the Miz has been out. He's been banged up. So The bullpen's been great. They're a grimy bunch, and they've been awesome. Dodgers are kind of getting it going. The Mets have scuffled, and the Redlegs. The Redlegs, listen, they got Paul Skeens. I mean, you're facing Paul Skeens, you're in trouble. I don't care if Paul Skeens plays for the, 12-year-old travel all-star team, and then you got to face Skeens, you're probably going to lose. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day. But they came back and got 2 big wins. They put up a big spot, 14 spot yesterday to win 14-8. They were banging, man. And I tell you what, Miguel Andujar could be just a quiet. Oh yeah, Miguel. They got Miguel Andujar. Have you looked at his numbers, Chinch? He's got legit numbers. He's got like an 800 OPS. He's hitting close to 300. Hit a big 3-run bomb in Pittsburgh yesterday. Spencer Steer hit a bomb. Dude, they put some. Marte hit a 3-run bomb too. They put some big blasts.
Don't forget, Andujar had a year. His first full year with the Yankees way back when, he had 27 home runs and 92 RBIs. Like he was like.
He won the Rookie of the Year. It was like second or something.
Second in the Rookie of the Year. Yep, AL Rookie of the Year. Guess who he finished second to? A guy named Shohei Ohtani. So he would have won the Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, we have a different way to talking about something right now today because you got a good look at umpire systems over the weekend. You want to explain to the fans?
Dude, I was down in Dunedin watching Jake play. It was really fun, man. Really had a great time. Although the Florida Storms got us. We got there on Wednesday. We ended up seeing like one game, and then like we ended up seeing 4 innings of a second half of a doubleheader because it rained every single night. The games just kept getting banged. But one of the things I did love, dude, is that ABS system. Dude, the strikes and what I was thinking about too was this. I remember like low A ball umps, they were not good. Like when I was coming up, they were not good. Even the AAA umps, you're like, man, these guys are not good. It's kind of, you go to the big leagues, you're like, these guys, when people would bitch and moan about the big league umps, I would go, no, these guys are really good. Because when you go down for AAA, back in the day for like a rehab assignment, you'd be like, the strike zone was all over the place. Dude, this new system, I was so impressed from these low A ball umps. They were so good. And just like in life, whatever you measure improves. You measure your sleep, it improves. You measure your eating, it improves. You measure your steps, they improve. These umpires, Chinch, were so legit. And, obviously you tap your head. We saw it a little bit in spring training with, with the ABS system of challenging balls and strikes. Dude, that system's like, and they also challenge check swings too, which I thought was great. That is a huge one. The check swing, yeah, it's great, dude. It's almost like a tennis match. So I thought that was great. But I think the system forces these umpires back into the zone where their vision is so good. They're like, no, that's a ball. Because the ABS system is constantly measuring these pitches. Dude, they got more pitches right than wrong. And when you're in low A ball, watch these guys, I was very impressed, dude. I was very, very impressed with the umping at the low A ball level. I thought it was awesome. Whoever you guys are, great job and keep doing it. And they were young bucks. They were just like, they looked like the same age as some of these young players.
Yeah, there you go. Well, hey, more umpiring news, which is really cool. We had history yesterday. The first female umpire in history of Major League Baseball, Jen Powell. So props to her, by the way.
Yeah, good job, Jen. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
how about that?
Well, what's great about that, Chinch, is that, women are, obviously we've seen women come into coaching in baseball. Like I said, Jake's first base coach, outfield coach, is a woman. And I said, hey, how is she as a coach? And Jake was like, she's awesome. She's an incredible defensive coach. She does the outfield work there. She's good to talk to on the reports. So I'm like, that's really cool. And so, it's only fitting that Jen Powell, dude, she spent 10 years in the minors.
Yeah, this is not like
a come about and hey,
pony show.
Yeah, it's not easy to get to the big leagues, and especially as an umpire, it's so hard to get there as an umpire because really those guys can stick around for 40 years if they want. Like Joe West was there 35 years, just yelling at people and ejecting people out of games for all those years. And Joe was one of the best umpires. Seriously, he was probably one of the best umpires ever. But those guys can stick around. So the only way an umpire really gets to the big leagues nowadays and forever is if an umpire retires. So for Jen Powell to get there, she really must be doing something right. Her number, like I said, Chinch, they evaluate these umpires so differently now. The strike zone, how they look at these guys. So you got to be getting good scores. They're not just calling Jen Powell up because she's a woman. They're calling her up because she's a good umpire. I remember Susan Walden tell me that one time. She goes, listen, until we start saying Susan Waldman is a great play-by-play color person, and instead of she's a great one of the best women play-by-play color people. No, dude, she's one of the best in the business.
Yeah, I remember Susan told us that on our show when there was an all woman broadcast, and she was like, "So what?" She's like, "I don't want anybody even wonder why there's women in it." That's pretty cool. You're right.
Yeah,
and Susan's one of the biggest pioneers too.
Yeah, you just want to be judged on being good at your job. At the end of the day, I think that's what. Hopefully, with Jen Powell, we'll be seeing. Hey, man, she's one of the best umpires out there. That's why she's called up to the big leagues, not because she's female.
Yep. By the way, Long Island native, as a little kid, 7 years old, her dad took the whole family to Cooperstown. She fell in love with baseball, wanted to play baseball. She wanted to play with the boys, begged her parents, and they let her. And then wound up in New Jersey, and here we are in the big leagues, dude. So a couple of years older.
Wasn't she like an all-American softball player?
Yes, that too. Yeah. She's a stud, man. She's baseball like is in her blood. So good for her, man. And by the way, a lot of haters out there. Get off the internet, losers.
Dude, you know what? Don't even read comments. I don't even read comments. It's like, don't take it. Like I said, don't take advice from spectators, dude. Everyone's got an opinion. What do they say? Unwanted opinions are just criticism. Yeah. If I don't ask you for your opinion, don't give it. You know what I mean? In life, when people are like, hey, let me tell you something. Hey, I didn't ask you, dude. And if you tell me without me asking you, it's called criticism. I ain't hearing it.
I hear you. It's funny. I was watching a Theo Vaughn, one of his podcasts the other day. He's so funny, man. He doesn't even. Theo, I can't even tell if he knows how funny he is, or if he's like a brilliant genius who's like playing a part that makes him that funny. I don't know. He's so funny though. But somebody asked him, the girl he had on was like, "You ever read the comments?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "You've never even read one?" He's like, "Nope, cannot." And she's like, "Would you write back?" And I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "Nope, would never write back." You don't write back to meanies,
dude. I don't read the comments because I read your I do read the comments.
Well, I send you a good one.
You send me good comments, and I love that. And it's great, and we're very grateful for the nice comments and everything like that. And Chinch reads all of them and sends them to me. He censors out anything that's negative. But dude, that's how I was playing, man. I was told by my agent Ron Shapiro. He said, "Hey, listen, don't read the papers, don't watch TV," and I didn't. I must admit, whenever I had a big game on ESPN, I'd go watch baseball. Yeah. I wanted to see it. But I never read the articles. And I remember I was in Detroit in 2007. I started off really slow in April. I had a terrible April, dude. I hit like 120, no RBIs, terrible. I had a huge May and June. But when you start off so slow like that, you're climbing a mountain all the time. So like you might be raking, but you look up at the screen, 207. But people don't realize for the last 2 weeks you're hitting 450. I think I actually hit 450 in May. And I was hitting 300 by the break, which is incredible. Considering I literally hit 120 in April. And I remember somebody wrote an article on me about, they got to trade me because whatever, this and that. I wasn't hitting for enough power. But I had just led the Tigers that month in RBIs. Isn't that the goal? Isn't the goal? Don't you hit home runs to drive in runs so you can win ball games? So I had just led the team, I think, in June in RBIs or something like that. I was up there. And I didn't read an article on that, but I had everybody coming up to me, "Hey, dude, how do you feel about so-and-so writing that article? I can't believe it." Yeah. I go, "What article?" And he showed me the article, and I'm like, "Hey, man, they're free to do whatever they want to do. They have a job to do. They got to write. Being in the media now 17 years, I get it. You got a job to do, and you got to do things, and and at the end of the day, they have to say what they have to say, and if it's fair, it's fair. When you're in the big leagues, bro, and you're trying to play, there's already so much stress and pressure on yourself that it's suffocating at times. I don't need anyone else's opinion in my mind at the box or anything like that when I go up there. And if I look at an article or if I look at comments, remember I always say, you're either training one of two things. You're either training distraction or discipline. I'm a distracted player now if I give a crap what everyone's saying. That's why I can't even believe players are on social media, dude. I would never ever be on social media if I played. It would just be too much. It's too much, and you don't want to hear anything. You just got to be able to focus for a short amount of years, hopefully 10 if you're lucky. Go out there and play, work your tail off, make as much money as you can, and do it in a tunnel, man. You got to do it literally in a funnel of like, you just got to get in that coffee straw perspective of go, go, go. Anything else that I'm looking at is a distraction.
There you go. And I have I'll give another inside baseball thing. When Fox and MLB Network, remember we kind of combined to do the games, the big game of the week, whatever. And, Harold did them for a while, and like Verducci got on here, and that's how that all started. And all the legendary thing is Joe Buck always just gets destroyed on social media, right? So they went and got legitimate analytics and data points for like the people on Twitter who were like hating and just seeing how it was. In the focus groups, they said only about 30% of the people who, let's just say somebody starts crushing Joe Buck for a game in the third inning and it winds up being like millions of people are just crushing Joe Buck. Only like 25 to 30% of the people who are on that chain of millions even watch the game or even know who Joe Buck is, because it's like that I don't know, what do you call it? Like Lord of the Flies. They all just jump in. Oh, everybody's saying this, so I'm going to press a button. So half the things people write about each other on the internet, they have no concept of what they're even talking about.
That's incredible. I also believe too, dude, if you're, it's tough enough to live your best life. Like seriously, it's tough enough to be disciplined, to have good thoughts about yourself and have good self-talk and have good friends and lean into positive things. Like if I'm taking any time out of my day to sit down and comment on somebody that I don't even know and it be a negative, hateful comment, I actually at some point need to take accountability and responsibility for myself, look in the mirror and go, what am I doing? I can't even talk nice about myself, let alone I'm talking trash on somebody else that I don't even know. Like, let's clean it up. That's how I think, at least. Like, if I was doing that, I'd have to be like, what am I doing? I'm taking my time out of my day to write something negative about Rich Cincinnati.
I know, dude. It's amazing. Plus, you give me the greatest advice. It was like a couple of years ago. You were like, you're going to wind up with like 5 friends. Don't worry. If you have 5 friends, you're fine. Or something like that.
You have 5 friends. Dude, if you have one really good friend, you're really lucky.
I know, it's amazing. And then you realize like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing that. I'm not hanging out with these people. I don't have time. I don't care. I just want to hang out in my yard and get sunburned.
You're like, Jess, come on out. Let's go. You're one of my best friends. Nice. I tell Sarah all the time, you're my best friend. I love hanging out.
Yeah, man.
So, good, Chinch, one more thing before we go.
Yeah.
You said something earlier I wanted to just go back to, and I want to hear your opinion on it. You got Schwarber doing what he's doing. I think he's got 40-some bombs, 41, 42 bombs, almost 100 ribbies, and all of a sudden he's in the MVP conversation. You've got Ohtani just hit his 41st homer, and he's back pitching. And when I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, hey, man, Schwarber might be the MVP. Now, is Ohtani being back pitching for the last 2 months going to make this not a race anymore? Like, what do you think? That's a great
question. I mean, he's getting back to being like great at pitching, right? Like, first of all, what a beautiful job of like easing him back into the rotation. That's a great question, man. The thing is, to me, it goes back to the MVP. What's the MVP? And like, I feel like if Schwarber wasn't on the Phillies right now, they'd be in deep. I feel like if Ohtani wasn't on the Dodgers right now, I don't know how bad they would be. I feel like the Phillies would be worse without Schwarber than the Dodgers would be without Ohtani. And I know that sounds crazy, but then again, if Ohtani keeps doing this, he's just the MVP every year. You said give him a new award.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Phillies still have Harper, and Trey Turner, who are there's some star power there. Dude, I tell you the truth, if you look at the Dodgers, Jets hasn't had a great year. Freeman's had a good year, obviously.
Right.
Dude, the one guy that I think got his eyes checked, and started to figure out his vision was Max Muncy. Go look at Muncy's numbers, dude. Yeah. Now he's usually, last couple of years, he's hitting 190, 200. He's hitting like 260 now with like closing in on a 900 OPS, hitting bombs, walking all the time. It's interesting. So
Wait, can I change my vote? Because I just pulled up Otani's player card, and he's leading the league in slugging percentage, OPS, OPS plus, OBA, RBAT, total bases, intentional walks, runs,
Is he really?
appearances. How is
Dude,
that possible?
I didn't realize that either.
Oh, it's over, dude.
It's over.
Dude, he's hitting 282 with 40 and 76 and 16 stolen bases and pitching.
Dude, I think he's so good that we're just taking it for granted.
I'm sorry.
We just start throwing names in there like, how about Schwarber?
No.
How about Alonso?
Nope. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Shohei. I was dead. I'm an embarrassment. I hope everybody listens to the end of this show. That's unbelievable. He's leading the league in every offensive category.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Did you see first?
Like, he had five innings the other day, 8 punchies.
Yeah. Do you know his numbers to start his career, both offensively and defensively, and pitching wise, like are the exact same? Like were the exact same as Babe Ruth's? Like his pitching record was the same as Babe Ruth for a while. It's really weird.
It almost feel like, honestly, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm saying my first thought was, is he reincarnated as Babe Ruth? Did Babe Ruth come back as the greatest 6'5" Japanese pitcher, just throwing gasoline and bombs? Because I'm telling you, dude, to have those numbers be exactly the same, I'm like, that's incredible. I don't know.
It's unbelievable. All right.
He's the new Babe.
I love it, dude.